I found a really good haiku. It was haikus are easy, but sometimes they don't make sense. Refrigerator. That's my favorite haiku.
I like roses are red, violets are blue. I got a toaster. Screw you.
That's not haiku.
Rose? No. See, my
That's
favorite
not
rhyme.
haiku.
Hello and welcome to End to End, the podcast where we talk about all things pony and a few things not. I'm your host, Duhad. Joining me today are Lightning Rabbit, the indomitable, incredibly annoying.
I'm not that annoying.
I didn't
It's
say
still on
you,
me at the
it's
moment.
still on him.
Oh,
This
I
is
just
the
heard
Slate
incredibly
Lightning
annoying. I
hour.
thought that was going to be
And
my intro.
Cabral, the slightly less annoying than Lightning Rabbit.
Wait, how is
I'm
that?
less annoying than him? How is that possible?
Exactly.
I wouldn't have thought it possible
Even
before.
the guy you're trying to defend with that statement is in shock.
I know, right? It's so. Why is Trixie involved in this?
What?
Wait, what?
I'm reading down through the stuff. Anyways, move on.
Yeah, anyway, speaking of things that horribly annoy me. No. Anyway, our special guest for today's episode is the Brony Gamer, creator of Sins of Friendship and a number of Let's Play series.
Hello! I'm English.
Yeah, I know. It's nice to actually have someone from England on the show.
Yeah. I mean, we've never had one of them before.
I know, there's no one else English on the show. No.
I'm actually Japanese.
It's true.
I'm not Japanese.
Well, now you just shattered my world. At any rate, Brony Gamer here created the series The Sins of Friendship, or Sins of Friendship. It's actually The Sins of Friendship. Anyway,
thanks for memorizing the name of the series of the producer you're going to interview. That's
Great start.
I haven't known you long enough for you to know what I do, but, fine.
I know what he does.
Oh, whatever. Yeah, okay, so you two, Alex the Lightning Rabbit and Cabral the Annoying Gator, you've seen Sins of Friendship before, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, I'm talking to people who've actually watched my shit.
I've watched it many a time.
Yes,
I fell asleep watching it.
Relatively popular series on YouTube, and Equestria Daily has featured it before.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I owe a lot to those guys. They put it every time I've emailed them. They've always put it up on something. Normally the roundup, but this last time they put it on like nearly its own post, and I was like, oh,
So
Really?
thank you so much.
What's posted with it?
didn't
Nice.
It was a little radio play section. It was like 3 things, but mine was like pretty much first. And
Oh,
best
we should
thing,
probably
so.
start submitting our stuff to Question Daily again.
We should at some point, if we actually had things to upload.
we
Well,
have
we
like
do.
10 episodes.
Anyway, point is, for those fans of ours who haven't seen Sins of Friendship before, would you like to give
What
them
the
a
hell are you
quick...
doing?
What?
What are you doing? Go and watch it right now. Pause this video. Pause this damn video.
No, he's
Go
gonna.
watch my.
He's
Don't do it.
undermining our
It's a
show.
trick.
He's undermining our show.
Clearly, no one's actually going to do that, because almost no one ever actually listens to those recommendations. They'll watch it
that's true.
afterwards, but
That
those
or they
people-
don't even listen to us.
Yeah, that's true as well.
then it doesn't
I
matter
listen
what
to
we
you.
say, because they're not going to listen to us either way.
Yeah.
I'll listen to my own interview. That's all right.
All right, well, that's fine. At any rate, Burning Gamer, why don't you give us a quick rundown of what Sins of Friendship is and why people should watch it?
Why people should care. Well, how much detail you don't want to go into? No.
Well, it's your show. You can choose how much detail you wish to go into. We're interviewing you, after all.
Yes.
Okay, I'll try to
All you.
avoid spoilers for the most part.
Fair
Okay,
enough.
basically, this is how I explain it to most people. It's probably a bit too much detail than you need, but anyway. Imagine, if you will, right?
No.
Okay, well, don't
No.
imagine then. Be completely blind and follow AI's example.
Okay.
No.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I know, look at it. No, anyway. Imagine, if you will, that emotion functions in exactly the same way as energy. Okay, so you got your 3 laws of energy. So, and emotion functions like energy. And then it cannot be created or destroyed. It just goes from one place to another or transforms from one form to another, right?
Okay.
Really fairly easy concept to grasp. Yeah, I would hope. Basically, Equestria is a world of positiveness. Sun, it's happy, it's full of ponies. Everyone loves Equestria. Normally.
Yeah, most people.
But it uses up a lot of positive energy, right? But it doesn't use up a lot of negative energy. But this negative energy can't be destroyed. It can't just vanish. So where does it go? I'll tell you, ladies and gentlemen, where it goes. I'll tell you right now, and you can buy it for yourself. No. It
One
goes-
bit.
1 bit. I will tell you the news. It goes into the realm I created for my characters, which is called Altestria.
Alternate Equestria. I see what you did there.
Oh.
So clever.
Onwards.
It's quite clever.
But
Actually.
basically, it is basically I describe it as kind of if Tim Burton did My Little Pony. So
Oh.
it's
Well,
like
Yeah.
it's like a darker version, but
Yeah.
not inherently evil. It's just dark.
So
So
inherently evil, and yet for some reason it's populated entirely by characters played by Johnny Depp and Helen Bonham Carter.
exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. You nailed it on the head.
So,
Never
so
thought.
what happens in the Griffin Kingdom?
What?
What's the alternate Griffin Kingdom then in your world?
Well, I kind of think of Equestria as being pretty much the whole world. So that encompasses where the ponies live, where the zebras live, where the griffins live, and any other sentient beings. So Altestria is itself. It has an area that will have griffins in it, and an
So
area
are griffins nice there?
Would the Griffins
Well,
have
we don't know
lion
how
front halves and like eagle back halves?
No,
Oh my
you're
God.
thinking of literal opposite. I'm thinking emotional opposite.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I know. That's
so-
that's why I asked if they're nice over there. So is Gilda a nice griffin?
Well, it's not opposite characters. It's not alternate dimension. This is just a world that has grown up, as opposed to everything being
So it's
positive.
just complete negative. Everything is negative.
Yeah, the characters aren't
Yeah.
the same. It's not like
Yeah.
negative Pinky. It's
Yeah,
It's like if you took
mirror.
it's like if you took a planet that was like Earth but different in some way, and you made life on that planet. It's not necessarily going to be that there's going to be humans on that world, but there'll be life on that planet. If you know what I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Okay,
I'd
that's
just
why I
like
asked
to,
those questions actually to people to understand.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's not alternate. That's it, people. It's not alternate dimension. Okay, there's not alternate characters. There's not another Fluttershy or anything like that. It's just this world, as opposed to running on positive, it runs on negative. So everyone's mindset is set to that. They're not evil. They just think differently.
Honestly,
If you've ever seen
French.
Nightmare Before Christmas, you'll understand it, because it's like Halloween Town. They're
versus
not evil.
like Christmas towns, like not that
Yeah,
one's
exactly.
evil, one's good. It's just that they're different.
So it's like England and France.
Yes, exactly. But but in this case, one is not evil.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. You have a point there. I feel sorry for our French viewers.
I never said that I was insulting the French, but yeah.
Anyway, so basically, you've got to imagine that's where my world comes from, and what happened through a series of events that will be explained, but for spoiler reasons, I won't say it, because you'll find out later. A lot of sudden negative energy came into Altestria, and it can only get used up so fast, right? So it pulled and collected, and then gained consciousness. Basically, what formed a demigod. Basically, became So it formed a being of pure negative emotion, who is called Shoal in this, which is a Hebrew for grave, I think. If I'm not mistaken.
Hebrew's cool.
So I think it's Hebrew or something.
Greek, Hebrew, all those old languages are cool.
I took it from some other culture. I'm not entirely sure what it means, but it sounds pretty good.
It's from
It's
somewhere.
sad.
Well, no, it makes sense. Grave. It's a grave. It's a deep pit, which is basically what Shoal is. It's a deep pit of negative emotion. And he, she, it, they, we want to. He basically
The list keeps going.
Josh,
is basically consuming all in its path as it expands, basically. So and it turns anything under his aura becomes a mindless thrall. They lose their willpower. Well, anything from Altestria does, you see. But the risk is that if he, she, it, we, I take over an entire realm, it will have the power to burst forth into other connected realms. Example, Equestria.
More power
so
than we
in
could
other
have ever
words,
dreamed
they have
of.
to stop, a Cthulhuid great, being of ungodly power from destroying this world, so that it doesn't destroy our world,
All worlds,
as in,
basically.
So
we care about.
And my character's this. So the Sins, they're led by Greed. Greed knows what's going on. He's very knowledgeable about this sort of thing. He through legend, he knows of the elements of harmony. The elements of harmony are a constant force that permeates every realm, right? So there's legends about them in every connected emotional realm. So people in Altestria know about them, and Greed's like. Greed's a very logical thinker, so he's like, I know how to stop we need the elements of harmony. Go get elements of harmony, right?
Right.
Okay.
So that's what he does. And this you'll see in episode 1. That's how it starts off. He goes and gets the elements. He goes to collect the elements of harmony. This takes place from. I set this just after season 2. So, in my sort of interpretation of the elements of harmony, it's that Twilight and her friends have become so powerful and in tune with the elements of harmony that they themselves are the elements of harmony. So the gems still exist.
Which actually kind of goes with what happened in Equestria Girls, actually, if you think about it, because that's why I was saying that she is the element of magic. So.
Yeah,
Spoilers.
basically, it's that they don't necessarily need the gems to use the power, as long as all of them are there. So Greed doesn't actually know that, but he finds out, and he just collects all. They're
collectibles. I got one.
Must collect them all.
I gotta collect them all of them.
Free with every Happy Meal. So yeah.
Every sin meal. Anyways.
And yet, for some reason, every single time I go to the goddamn place, I got all 5 of them except for loyalty, and I just keep on getting copies of laughter and kindness. For God's sakes, people, just put the one goddamn toy I'm looking for in the meal.
Can I have your laughter and kindness?
Kind of said
no, you must suffer lightning without laughter and kindness.
Oh.
And they'll give me the loyalty so I can save the world, but it costs like $5, which is like
it costs like $5 to save the world.
You can buy it.
It's ridiculous, stupid. Anyway, continue.
So yes, that's where it starts off. Is that he goes in to save his realm, because they can't, like I said, they can't stop show on their own. They need the elements of harmony.
They need them.
Fair enough.
The elephants of harmony.
All right, so it's a adventure story set in 2 worlds about trying to stop some sort of crazy ultimate evil thing.
Yeah, pretty much. I like to call it a grimdark adventure. Grimdark in the sense, grimdark in the sense that you're in a realm that's dominated by the negative.
That's both grim and dark.
Adventure.
Is
there a character called Billy or Mandy?
Shush you.
No, because this is not the Grim Adventures of Billy or Mandy.
But it's Grim Adventure.
To be fair, I probably wouldn't call it grimdark since no one gets.
It's a very loose term. It's because I don't like stories that are too full of gore and stuff. I'm not putting gore or excessive kind of horror. I'm the type who likes subtle kind of darkness and stuff. So there's nothing like that, at least for the most part, in this.
So
Alex knows otherwise, but he can shut up.
Yes, I do know otherwise, but I can shut up.
Goddamn face.
I didn't say anything.
Shut up.
All I was going to say otherwise, apart from that, was so basically you called it grimdark because it was both grim and dark.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a darker setting.
But there's no actual gore or anything.
There's no blood or gore.
So in some way, it's like Doctor Who, because Doctor Who kind of has that feel in some episodes.
It's grim and dark.
I'd call that more dark than grimdark, since the whole point of grimdark is it's supposed to be like dark to a ludicrous degree.
All right, we'll just die.
Yeah, like the whole the joke with grimdark is it's based on the line Warhammer. In the grim dark future of the 41st millennium, there is only war.
There is only war.
So after
there
that
is
debate,
no sun.
The idea is it's things that are so ridiculously dark that they are either kind of just ludicrous and goofy or psychotically grim. It's not just dark. It's grim dark.
And along with the war that goes on, they only drink black coffee.
Yeah, well, to be fair, the whole point of Warhammer 40k is basically just, can we make the darkest thing possible? Good, let's darken it.
Black coffee, Pepsi.
It's dark to, Warhammer is dark to a level where it actually is kind of funny. Like, if you are not, 14 years old and
like
can take it with a bit of
Sharknado
irony. No, but it's, it's a setting where the comic relief are the people who genocide entire planets while stabbing each other in the face, and where the good guys were considered to be too good, so they added in a bit where they wipe out planetary populations and sterilize them, for the greater good, because the
greater good is Tau. That's not the Imperium.
No, that's the Tau. The Tau were considered to be too good guy-ish,
really?
too nice.
Oh shit! I've not been behind on the law for too long.
Yeah, no, the thing was they were considered to be too nice, so they added in a thing where they sterilized planets, basically just because they weren't kicking enough puppies, and people complained.
Oh dear.
You aren't killing puppies. What's
that
wrong
is,
with you?
Blood for the blood god. Snacks for the snack table. Milk for the cornflakes.
Ooh.
Okay, so it's not like Sharknado then.
No. The reason Warhammer 40k is the trope namer for grimdark is because it is hilariously, ridiculously dark.
Okay. By the way, have you seen
Yeah,
Sharknado? It's horrible.
It's pretty funny, actually. It's
Sharknado? It's hilarious because it's stupid.
Well, yeah. Have you seen Two-Headed Shark Attack?
You know what else?
That was on right after that. I was gonna watch it, but
Oh
no.
my god, it's so good! It's a shark
You know what
with
else
two
is-
heads.
That's just
You know, else is amazingly
stupid. Who
stupid?
comes up?
What?
Okay, I'm wondering who came up with Sharknado. I mean, in
Oh,
all
yeah,
honesty,
it-
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who came up with Swan Zeus?
Swan
that's
Zeus.
a good question too.
Swan Zeus.
Swan
I
Zeus.
swear to God, Swan Zeus.
See, all the people who made those kind of movies were all like, dude, I got this great idea. We're
Let's make
gonna
Swan
take this
Zeus.
tornado, and sharks are gonna fly out and kill people.
Technically, wasn't the whole idea of Swan Zeus actually a thing? Because he like turned into a
Yeah,
swan
he turned into a
and
swan.
then raped someone.
Yeah. Those.
The hell?
With his
That was
black
Greek
band of
mythology.
death.
Should we move on back to
I
topic?
suddenly got why it's called Swan Zeus now.
Ow.
Also,
all right.
Wow.
We'll have,
Also,
we'll
here's
have
a
another
picture
discussion
which,
sometime about stupid movies.
No pictures.
No.
it's a good one.
Oh.
Oh, no, we're not putting that in the episode.
By the way,
that's funny.
Duhad, we should have an
Oh,
episode.
that's interesting.
We should have an episode where we discuss stupid movies. But anyways, we should
should.
move on.
Anyway, at any rate, so, it sounds like this is a show. Okay, we're going really off topic, but back on the topic of Sins of Friendship. This sounds like a really good show that everyone should go out and watch right now so that the following bit of the discussion makes sense.
Yeah,
Was
I
that-
have a question
Yeah,
as
because
well.
just so anyone knows, if you haven't watched it already, I probably will talk about things from. I have the first 4 out, and I probably will talk about things from the first 4. So I am not doing it on purpose to spoil,
Hmm.
but it, I can't like not talk. I can't talk about it and then not mention things that I've already put out. You can
exactly.
see.
Yeah.
So, having said that, spoilers.
Spoiler, 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 spoiler.
How did you come up with the idea of doing Sins of Friendship?
God damn it, that was my question.
Alex, would you have a question for me?
Well, my question was, it's an interesting concept, so how did you come up with it?
Okay, it's actually kind of it's just a question that doesn't really have very much of a definite answer, because I first came up with the characters completely out of the blue, just as something interesting to roleplay with. There was no backstory, there was no Equestria, there was no nothing. I just thought, oh, I like the idea, I like personifying things. I think the 7 Deadly Sins are interesting things. What if I personify them? At the time, I was also playing Binding of Isaac a lot, and I really like the fact that the 7 Deadly Sins are mini bosses in that game. And I thought to myself, oh, what if I take the 7 Deadly Sins and turn them into ponies and then roleplay with them? That'd be interesting. Also, AR seems to have died.
Yeah, yes, I've been trying to not mention that while I try and get him back in.
Well, there we go. Magic
Sorry,
is
guys.
ruined.
Spoiler alert. Yeah,
Magic is
anyway,
ruined.
Everyone just
Anyway,
closes the garage like, no, we're
No,
done.
don't want to
We
watch
are.
this anymore.
So I wanted to ponify the 7 Deadly Sins and for my own purposes. And then when I did that, I was kind of like, well, I like these characters. By the way, I kept changing on 1 or 2 of them. There's a few I've kept the same. I think I've kept Greed pretty much the same. Wrath and Sloth have pretty much remained the same. And Envy. I think I kept changing Lust, Gluttony, and Pride. I kept changing those
Lust?
2. What?
What?
Lost?
Lust.
Is that what you said?
Lust.
Lust.
Oh,
talking about
Lust. I thought you
Sins.
said Lost. I'm like, who? Wait, you have one named Lost? I remember Lust. I don't remember Lost.
It's just no. So I kept changing those, but anyway, so I made them up to roleplay with them, and I thought to myself, well, the really easy route is just to make them bad guys, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh look, 7 Deadly Sins versus the main 6. Oh, isn't that going to be? Which is why the original title card for Sins of Friendship has the 7 sins versus the main 6, and I put Derpy in there because I love Derpy. That's why the original title card has them arranged like that. That's why the new one doesn't. It's just got the 7 sins there. But I was like, that's actually really boring. Like everyone has done that. Everyone has done some sort of something versus the main 6.
Yeah, it's easy to do. It's the villainous main 6 versus the good main 6, or oh, it's the 7 deadly sins, but they're facing the 7 heavenly virtues and the sins of the good guys because we're all reversal.
Exactly.
Evil is good and good is evil.
Exactly. So
Whoa!
what I did was I thought to myself, what I don't want. This is before I came up with backstory. I just thought to myself, well, they're in Equestria for some reason, but they're not bad guys.
Exactly.
And then I came up with the idea that, well, Greed is here to observe things. He's
So
just
where does
here.
Donut Steel come in?
Who?
Donut Steel is not in this.
I know.
Donut Steel.
Donut Steel.
he's
Donut
too
Steel.
Interrupted my flow.
Oh, you've ruined everything.
I know. I
Those
know.
are
Donut
on the
Steel.
flow.
My mind is now a train wreck. Thank you.
Donut.
Train of thought is gone.
Well done, AI.
You were saying about you want to do something different than just
Oh,
make
right, yeah.
bad guys.
So I came up with the idea, well,
Yeah.
Greed's here to observe, and the Sin's sort of, he's kind of the leader, the de facto leader of them.
Yeah.
And then as I got more immersed in the community, I thought to myself, this community is like, really awesome. It's really, really, I love the stuff this community comes up with. I think it's
You're
the
welcome.
greatest community I'm in. Thank you. Thank you very much. Everyone is listening. But so I thought, well, I want to give something back, right? But I don't want to do something. I can't do music. I'm not a musical person. I don't have. Yeah, I have a very select group of skills. At the time, I didn't do artwork very well,
Right.
so I was like, why don't I make my own story up? But I don't really like writing, so I mean, writing is in like books. I can write scripts. Books kind of daunting. So I was like, well, let's come up with the story and let's use these characters because they're not doing anything. They're just sat around being vaguely role played with. So then I had to come up with a backstory, and because I didn't want them to be bad guys, I had to come up with a convincing backstory as to why they would be in Equestria, And so I was just there is no this is where there is no answer to this question comes in because I don't know how I came up with the actual backstory. I just blabbed ideas on a page until I had something that worked, and I was like, oh, this works. I like this idea. There's a lot of scope for evolution with this. I'm just going to work with that. And then other bits and pieces fell in, like characters became solidified and became, this is what I want this character to be. Little backstory bits came in, and it just kind of all built itself kind of in my head. And I was like, right, this is what I'm doing. And then I thought, well, I don't do animation. So I was like, well, let's just make it a radio play. And then I thought, well, I don't want it to be really boring and just have like a picture in the background. So I'll make it with storyboard animation, like really just basic.
That's always a good idea. Though we should point out we're going to do something that's really boring and only has static images in the background.
Yeah, but this is a podcast, not a radio play.
No, it's like for a radio play.
Oh, well, you suck then.
So throw us under the bus, why don't you?
Well.
But also I was gonna say with the writing, I do that a lot actually. A lot of the times when you just go on, your mind just starts working and piecing things together without you realizing it. It's just a habit to make things flow sometimes when you just write.
Yeah, but the good thing about that is that you'll overthink your own ideas, so you'll come up with things. For example, one of the honest ideas for mine was, why can't they fight off this evil on their own? Why do they need to go to Equestria? So then I was like, exactly. Oh, that's a loophole. How am I going to cover this loophole? Well, what if they can't get near the evil because it is them? It is something that they, it's negative emotion. That's what they are. That's what
negative. You can't have negative. You got to have a negative positive.
Exactly. So there you go. Science. There's lots of science in this thing. I love science.
Yes,
I like
everywhere.
Science.
Greatest idea I came up with for this, I absolutely love, and I don't like blowing my own horn, but I think I was quite clever with this, was the idea that, and I don't mess up on episode 4, there is one Pegasi and one unicorn in Equestria, not counting Final Scratch. Is that the idea is that Pegasi and unicorns don't exist as a race there. There's like odd ones now and again that have arisen, but they don't exist as a race because Equestria is more magical than Equestria. There's so much magic there. It's like a sponge. It's completely saturated, and because of the magic, it stops natural mutations from occurring. And Pegasi and unicorns as a race evolved from Earth ponies, like Earth pony ancestors. So they through mutation, evolution,
Yeah.
So if magic has blocked those mutations, exactly. What kind of? If
more
magic
Darwinian than Pokemon.
It's Darwinian evolution. If magic has blocked natural mutation from happening, it means that you don't get those races. But you still get odd unicorns and Pegasi because the magic is so high that certain emotional states or mind ideas become physical. So it's like, for example, Envy as a character, her skin is really hard like a seashell. because she has so many mental barriers, and those mental barriers have manifested themselves into physical barriers. That's kind of the way it works. So in Equestria, mutation and evolution can happen, but on a race scale, but on an individual scale, people are relatively pure. Whereas in Altestria, mass mutation to the formation of new races is extremely rare and cannot really happen, but individual mutation is extremely common.
Damn,
That's the
son.
trade-off.
Yes.
So
that I
basically,
came up
instead of all right. So basically, there's more. It's more, old school sci-fi. Post-apocalyptic mutations. X-Men style. Everyone has crazy
Chernobyl!
things happening, as opposed to
Yeah.
real-world evolution through
there's no
mutation.
yeah there's no kind of additional races of ponies. I mean, for example, I have changelings, but they're not really ponies, so
Like bugs
there's
or something.
yeah, exactly. But it's that every pony has some sort of power,
Yeah.
so like unicorns all have some sort of individual power. Well, every pony in Altestria has a power. They're just not as powerful, perhaps, as individual powers of unicorns in Equestria. For example, Greed is really, really clever and knows his stuff, and he knows a lot about magic. But his only real power is levitation.
Right.
He can pretty much indefinitely levitate something, as
Right.
long as it's not too heavy,
Yeah.
Whereas Twilight can do that and can do other things.
Yeah. Yeah. That works.
Teleportation, walking on clouds.
Yeah. Again, it's got
Well,
it's
even
like
pretty much most basic unicorns can levitate things. That's
Mustache spell.
So basically, it takes away some of the kind of general group abilities in exchange for essentially taking the whole concept of the special talents and just going completely crazy with them.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So I came up with so there you go. I came up with the backstory, and we have sins, and I've sort of evolved and whittled bits away and put more bits on, and we have sins of friendship. Hooray!
Hooray!
Yay.
Shut up.
Lightning, you're so emotional. Calm down.
I'm sorry.
Seriously.
I'll be more monotone next time.
Please do.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, so how did you come up with the individual characters? I mean, you've mentioned that you came up with Greed and the whole group as a whole for a role-playing thing. But how did you actually kind of develop the characteristics of each character beyond the simple, here is the sin they're based on, so here's a general, outline I want to go with?
Oh, of course. Well, I came up with really kind of specific, proper 3D characters after I'd made a proper backstory and stopped them being roleplay characters only.
Right.
Because at the time it was just kind of like, oh, here's Gluttony, and she'd be really bouncy and happy like Pinkie Pie. Oh, here's Greed, he's kind of like Twilight, But
Right.
after I stopped doing that, because I stopped doing roleplay, became too busy for one thing. I really sat down and fleshed out the characters, because I love. You can have a character you don't want. I hate. I'll start again. I hate things that have perfect characters in.
Yeah, Mary
There is
Sue's.
no
Yeah.
such thing as a perfect character.
Yeah, all characters are flawed. It's supposed to be like that.
The thing is, the more perfect you make the character, the less perfect the character is from a writing perspective, because the
Yes,
more the character
precisely.
is just a boring Mary Sue.
Yeah, the reason, right? A really good example is the reason. Okay, the reason I presume most people love Mass Effect is
I
not
don't.
the characters is not. They don't like Shepard. No one associates with Shepard. Everyone loves the other characters because they're flawed. Whereas Shepard is pretty much flawless because it's just a vessel for the player to play through.
Yeah.
But that is a really good example of a series where individual characters, people really attach to and people really love.
Yeah, the thing is, people usually don't go like, yeah, I love Shepard as a character. They just sort of like, I love my Shepard.
Yeah, or they'll say,
Shepard that allowed me to be that was my lens into this world. They
My
don't actually
shepherd.
like Shepard as a
Precisely.
character isn't very interesting.
I like
The
my
Lord-
shepherd.
The Lord
He
is my
guides
shepherd.
sheep. I knew you were going to quote that. I just saw that coming.
Yeah.
Anyways,
So basically, what
So-
you're saying is that it's all to do with
shepherds are cool.
the Mary Sue kind of, not even that, the blank slate kind of characters like
Yeah,
Shepard
it's
are
blank slate.
a
It really
pathway
is.
to send yourself into the story.
Yeah, I don't like stories where you can have a really crap story, but if it has really interesting characters, I'm gonna like it.
Yeah, that can pull it.
There are
off.
plenty of things out there that the stories are just stupid, but I
Yeah.
really love the characters. The
Mm.
characters are engaging and fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
I mean,
You know,
there's a lot of stories.
All right, here's a really good example. I love the comedy series LOLO, right?
Right.
And the stories for LOLO are completely stupid when you're watching it. They're
Yeah.
completely absurd. But the characters are so memorable and wonderful that you get so engaged with the characters, you forget that the overall storyline is just bloody ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think actually
True.
a really good example of this would be essentially sitcoms. Any sitcom that does well is not going, 9 times out of 10 is not going to do so because the
story.
stories are so, unbelievably interesting and, well developed and fascinating.
There are some
They're
like that
just
though. There are some
regurgitating
sitcoms like that.
very,
Oh, yeah,
very
yeah,
occasionally.
obviously.
But for the most part, like the stories are pretty similar. Like they change a little bit, but for the most part, they're basically the same. What
Yeah.
makes people like sitcoms isn't the plots; it's the characters. It's the the characters and how they react to those situations that bring people back.
Hey, what about Marvel's the Avengers, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That if you boil it down to just the story, it's pretty bland, it's pretty boring.
Yeah,
But
most of them are.
the characters are amazing. I
Yeah.
love that film because the characters are so good. Even the villain, Loki, is a wonderful villain.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm.
it's a really really good movie, not because of the story really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about
that's an example. I think I base a lot of what I wanted to do on the fact on films and stuff like that, and that I love making really good stories and really good characters.
yeah. Admittedly, there
And I
are
wanted to have
some-
characters that people liked. It's really rewarding when people comment, and people have done this, and I thank you very much if anyone's listening who has actually done this, but people who comment and say, oh, I really like Greed, I love this character, I love what you've done with him. I'm just like, wow, thank you, that is really, really gratifying to hear, because I've spent a lot of time on my characters.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, sorry,
Yeah,
I was going at how I developed them. Do you want me to go through each character? Or...
Yeah. At least briefly.
Okay, well, I'll just if I forget one, I always forget. There's 7 of them, and I'm always like, well, you've got this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. That's 6. What the hell, the 7th? I always forget. So remind me if I forget. But so
Okay,
Greed.
you forgot.
I forgot all of them. I haven't done any of them yet.
There's Greed.
Great.
Yeah. Well, I actually have my title card set as my desktop, so I'll just go through that one from right to left. Okay, so Greed. I kind of designed him to be like an anti-Twilight in that. He's very logical, but logical almost to a fault, in that he sees point A and point B, and he sees the way to get from point A to point B is a straight line, and if that happens to hurt other people, then so be it. But not in a way that I don't care about other people or that other people are just expendable. It's that that's the way he just sees the easiest path.
Yeah, just get your goal and objective done the quickest and easiest way possible.
Yeah, he's very childish in the fact that he doesn't consider other things other than the easiest path. When you're a child, and for example, if you wanted, like, I want to eat that. I had my friend around and I was talking about this. So this is kind of what I said to him: is that when you're a really young child and you see a biscuit and you're like, I want to eat that biscuit. Right?
Yeah.
That's your point A to point B. Eat biscuit. You don't think the fact that, oh well, my dinner's in about half an hour. I won't be hungry. I want to eat my dinner. I might feel a bit sick.
Someone else's biscuit.
Someone else's. You don't think about that. That's the way Greed thinks. Greed just thinks A, B.
Right.
So he is very much. I'm going to save my realm. Save my realm. I need the elements of harmony. I'm going to get the elements of harmony. We're going to go and we're going to save my home.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do. He's
very
Save the world.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Roland from the Dark Tower series. Yeah, the whole attitude of you want something and you will go and you will get to it, even if you have to walk over everyone else in order to get there.
Yeah, but in a completely non.
Yeah, it's not evil. It's just
he doesn't.
driven.
He's blind. He's blind, which is ironic because he has a head skull. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He doesn't see. He just doesn't think about. He just sees A to B. It's very straightforward thinking.
Well, he also doesn't have eyes, so.
Yes, it's
he sees.
metaphorical. It's he doesn't have eyes. He's
he's not actually blind. He does see. Just don't ask me about it. He sees, but he's not. He doesn't have eyes.
He sees, but he
Magic,
doesn't see, but he
that's how-
sees. Yes.
Exactly.
that'll
Yeah,
do.
basically.
all right. So
It's like those catfish without eyes.
next.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Greed. He loves that kind of thing, and he basically was collecting. He collected knowledge. He's
Comics.
greedy. He collected things.
Yeah.
No, well, if they had comics, he probably would have collected comics. Yes, he collected artifacts and stuff. And the reason he has a head for a skull is a skull for a head, is that he saw where this path would lead him. he had a vision of, if I continued being like this and just hoarding things, this is where it's going to lead me. You know, obviously bad, right?
Right.
So he used the knowledge that he collected, and he found a spell that would stop him from feeling the base emotion of greed, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was really powerful, and it took away like everything to do with his head and all feelings of greed. Now, because he's in Equestria and it's really magical, he didn't die, and he's got a little rag around his head, which originally, by the way, was actually meant to hold his mouth on, but
Yeah.
I changed that idea, and his mouth actually, it still has the flesh underneath, so his jaw is actually still attached. I kept the rag on because I thought the rag looked really cool.
Okay.
So, but it doesn't actually really serve much practical purpose at the moment.
Right.
But he did the spell, and it stopped him feeling all greed emotions, but it took away his head, so whatever. Now, if you must we must compare greed's way of logical thinking to sloth's way of logical thinking. Right? Natural segue here.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas greed's way of thinking is very much A to B, do it. Sloth's way of thinking is very much there's A, there's B. What is every single thing that lies between me and B? He is the one who when you give him a maths equation will work out every single last thing, and then solve the equation.
Detail oriented.
Yeah, his thinking is detailed, and in my story I have and I have to make it very extremely clear, I'm not shipping my characters. They are not in a relationship, but Gluttony and Sloth are pretty much they're together, right? But not in like a relationship. Their relationship
So like
is
best
one.
friends.
No, their relationship is a symbiotic relationship.
Oh,
One
I get it
cannot
now. Okay,
survive
makes more
without the
sense now.
other.
Right.
I got you.
One
Makes
cannot
sense
survive
now.
without the other. Sloth,
Wonder Twins.
because of no, sure.
Shut your
Sloth.
face.
You move on. I know what
I'm
you're
sorry.
talking
I'm in flow, so I.
Yeah. Stop
I'll
interrupting
just
the
keep going.
flow. We're gonna be here for years then.
about.
Sloth, because of his mind, needs at least twice as much rest as anyone else. His mind works twice as fast, but he needs twice as much rest, which means he can't really take care of himself physically, which is what Gluttony is for. Gluttony is an inventor, and she invents things, but she's too ditzy and here and there to think up every little detail, which can be quite dangerous. So Sloth looks out for her, and the two work together and live together so that they can both survive. On their own, they probably wouldn't last very long.
Yeah.
Sloth would probably waste away at nothing. Gluttony would probably get involved in some horrible accident or something. Because so the two, it's not a shipping relationship, and I will kill anyone who ships them. No, but
Jesus.
they can't exist one without the other. So
So
they're
Yeah, I
very
get
much one of the same.
So to ask a question on that note, if someone asked you to, like, if you had some models available and they wanted to buy some, you'd say you'd ship them separately.
Yes, I would. They would be in separate packages. No,
Good,
they
good.
would be. Yeah, okay. Very clever, Alex.
They wouldn't be
Very
shipped
clever.
at all. Haha.
Ah, yeah, you have to come over and get them. Anyway, so moving on then. Because I haven't introduced Gluttony. I've introduced Sloth in episode 4, so I don't want to talk too much about
Yeah.
them two. I'll move on to Envy because Lust. I'll do Lust then. Lust.
Oh,
okay.
there we go.
Lust.
Lost.
He mentioned Lust.
All right.
Lust. Now, Lust is one that's changed a hell of a lot. And I've only kind of recently kind of nailed down exactly what I want her to be. Now, there is not when you have a character named Lust, there is an obvious problem.
Yes.
I think you can all think of what that problem might be.
Hold
Now,
on, give me a
Hold on.
second.
Wait.
Wait.
Yeah. There's the mental image.
Yeah, there it is.
There it
Okay,
is.
yeah,
You.
Right.
I see it.
Now, I obviously, as you
he's
can
addicted
imagine,
to chocolate, isn't he? He's
Close
addicted
enough.
to
No.
chocolate, isn't she?
no, that would be Gluttony. Gluttony likes sweets, but no.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go down the very, very obvious route.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, this is why she's gone through so many different iterations. I wanted an interesting character, but not one that was half-hashed or kind of he's obviously not going down that route, so he's just come up with something else.
Yeah.
Now, what I came up with was that I came up with the idea that lust is like unbridled love, right? And if you love someone like that, you're incredibly loyal to them. So lust, I came up with the idea of being sort of like Rainbow Dash in that she's kind of very loyal to people.
Yeah.
That's what. And I went a bit further with this, and this is kind of spoilerish territory, but we introduce lust in the next chapter, so you'll learn this. If you don't really want to listen to this, just sort of skip ahead a little bit because it's a little bit spoilery. But this is the
If you
risk
don't
I'm
want to
going to
listen
take.
at all, just turn off your computer and go to sleep. Go outside. I'm sure it's a nice day.
I'll just make
I'll-
some spoiler tune thing, and then I'll put that in there so they know
Look,
to
I'll
pause.
put in. I will say for the next bit, this is definitely spoilery. This bit isn't, but I will say when it's definitely spoiler. But I kind of want to say it because it's really interesting character thing. Now
Okay.
I linked Lust and Greed. I linked Lust and Greed together. Okay, in
Alright.
that and here is the spoiler of it. Kind of just spoilers.
Okay, definitely
Um,
spoilers.
Put on. You'll have to put like a picture in the background that says spoilers, and then people can sort of how YouTube shows you a picture of what's playing on screen.
Yeah.
If they don't want to listen to this, they can pause it and kind of like put the thing ahead until it doesn't
Yeah.
say spoilers
I'll
anymore.
put a
and say,
tune or something that
No. You'll
signifies
put a
spoilers.
visual image. That way, people will actually be able to see it when they scroll ahead.
But if they hear
Yeah.
it, that makes sense as well.
No, but if they hear it, then they'll be in the spoiler territory.
No,
They'll
just
still
put
be
it-
in spoilers.
Put a visual spoiler.
Just put a picture up right now that says spoilers ahead.
Yeah, spoiler warning.
Yeah,
Like up
spoilers
on
ahead.
screen right now. Spoiler warning.
Right.
We've said
Lust
it enough
and Greed.
times.
He's not gonna put it in.
Lust and Greed used to be together, as in together. Now what? And they were in love, deeply in love. Now what happened when Greed used the spell to stop feeling feelings of greed is that love itself is a feeling of intense greed because you want someone. If you love someone, you want to be with them. You know.
Yes.
So when he used the spell, he stopped feeling love, and for all intents and purposes, cannot understand the concept of it. The spell has blocked those feelings, and he can't. You could sit here and explain it to him for an hour about what love is, and he wouldn't get it. Not at all. So he
Not
doesn't
even
know
if you
it.
sing it to him.
Not even if you sing it to him. So
My
he
God.
doesn't know about what him and Lust had. He doesn't know about love, and Lust's loyalty lies in the fact that she believes that inside him there is the capacity to feel that love. She knows somewhere in him there is the greed she used to love, and she holds on to that. That's what keeps her going. What I'm going to have at the start of episode 4, which is again spoiler territory, but we've still got the thing up, is that Rainbow Dash goes ahead to sort of Rainbow Dash isn't too convinced about whether or not the sins are actually genuine, so she goes ahead to find Lust and sort of observe her on her own without greed there. No, to see how she acts when greed isn't around. Because if greed, she thinks if greed's around, perhaps people think, oh, greed's there, I better act in a nice way.
Yeah.
This is what they might have had a plan or something. So she goes ahead to kind of spy on Lust. And when she finds Lust's house, and she says in Lust, I have completed the piano. That's kind of one of her things. She's really good at playing the piano, and she's singing a song. And AI, you've played To the Moon, right?
The game? Yeah. I failed at it.
You know the song that plays when they get rid of River?
Yeah.
That's the song that Lust's going to sing.
Aww, it's a good song.
I know it's a very good song. I love the game. I cry quite readily at it. But
also, I ruined the let's play of it.
Well, it's a good game. But she's going to be singing that song because, and I'm going to try and do like a lovely little scene of her playing the piano singing the song. But on top of the piano, there's going to be a little I'm not going to point attention to this, but there's going to be a little picture of her with a grey pony, who looks like Greed if he had a proper face,
Yeah.
If he had a face.
So I'm gonna.
I had a face.
Well, and here's where I'd put my face if I had one.
If I had one. Anyway.
Greed. This is one of the things. There are two ways you can treat your audience. Okay, complete idiots and fairly intelligent. And the complete idiot stance is that you just blandly point out and tell them everything, which works for many things, especially if your audience is small children.
Yeah, or stupid.
Whereas, or stupid people, actually stupid people. Whereas I prefer to take the clever route in that I have things in my story that make it entertaining enough if you are stupid.
Yeah.
But if you are observant enough and hopefully competent enough to pick up on it, there are lovely references and things I want to put in that people will notice, and this is one of them. Lust and Greed's relationship isn't something I'm going to point out directly, or that Lust will ever bring up on her own, or that Greed will bring up because he doesn't really remember it. But it's going to be something that if you are observant, you will notice. Like, for example, picture on top of the thing. Who's she singing about? She must be singing about something.
Noticing things in Doctor Who or Sherlock Holmes stuff.
Like that. Yeah, like Bad Wolf. Bad Wolf is a really good example.
Yeah, Bad Wolf's a good example. Actually, yeah, that's a good example.
So that's something that really defines Lust's character. Other than that, she's kind of a very kind of motherly kind of character, in that she kind of looks out for people and so you make sure they feel safe and okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have her kind of keep an eye out on Envy, because Envy's kind of a very sad kind of character. So she keeps an eye out on her, make sure that she's all right. So that's kind of her characterization. It's very kind of she's the type of character you would imagine who lives in a little cottage, sort of out of the way, with ivy crawling up the walls, and she has a little vegetable garden. Kind of very motherly. Is the best way I can sort of describe it. So that's her character. She should be quite interesting. She's actually one of my favorite ones that I came up with, because she's quite tragic in her own way.
Everyone loves tragedy.
Interesting to convey. And it leads us on to Envy, I suppose.
Her.
Envy's kind of
envious.
Yeah. But if I had to say I had a least favorite character I came up with, Envy's probably that character. I still love all my characters. It's like saying which is the worst Pixar film, right?
Yeah.
They're all really good films.
Except for Cars 2.
Except for Cars 2.
But you know what I mean. Cars 2
it's like when you ask people who's your least favorite, like of the main six, who's your favorite. They like all the main six for a lot of people. They're all the favorites, but Applejack's always towards the bottom. They don't hate her.
Exactly.
They just don't love her sort of thing.
It's because no one loves Applejack. No.
Exactly. That's why I came up with my characters. It's like I love all my characters, but Envy's kind of the one that I'm least attached to. Her gist is that she's because weather happens pretty much naturally in Equestria because of lack of Pegasi. I gave her power to be that she can control very localized weather, but it depends entirely on her mood. So if she's really sad, it'll rain, and it rains most of the time. So
it's like England.
But if she's really basically she's England in personified. If she's really happy,
she needs McDonald's to make her happy.
If she's really happy, it'll be sunny. If she's scared, it'll snow or something. I had her be that she was always very small and kind of weak, and she doesn't. So she has obvious envy problems, and self-doubt. She's just kind of the sort of typical self-doubt character, really, when you think about it.
Yeah.
And that her mental barriers came physically in the form of that her skin is like a shell.
Yeah.
I've already covered that.
Yeah. So
she's kind of a character, but she's kind of interesting, I suppose, in her own way. She's probably cute, if that's one word you wanted to, positive word you wanted to describe.
She's adorable.
So, just to go at this sort of angle, so you're saying that if she was scared and it snowed, she would be frozen in terror?
What? Are you just here to provide really shit comic relief?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I had the
That's
biggest
what he's
smile.
here for. He's for the terrible comments. I'm for the comments that just get annoying after a while, and the Duhad's here to set us back on track, and then you're here to talk about your stuff.
I had
fair
a
enough.
smile on
I'm
my
glad
face when I said that as well. That's the worst thing.
Ugh. Anyway, moving on. So I'll cover Pride next. Pride is my excuse to do a Phoenix Wright reference, basically. Because I love Phoenix Wright. If you watch episode 4, it's so obvious it slaps you in the face. But she is an attorney. She's a lawyer, and her ability is that she spots that she's really got a good attention to detail, and she spots things that other ponies wouldn't.
Yeah.
Her actual part of it is to do with her necklace. Well, it's not really a necklace; it's kind of a brooch thing. But when normally, due to sort of recent stuff with Shoal and everything, there's a real risk when if you die that your soul's going to be lost to Shoal. This is covered later with shadow ponies and stuff, but which I mentioned in episode 4, so that's not a spoiler. Not a spoiler. Mentioned episode 4.
There was spoilers at some point in the past.
So her necklace actually contains the souls of her parents, and to protect them from that possible eventuality. And what it allows her to do is that she can't really see into the hearts of people, but she gets feelings. She gets hunches at things, which obviously is really, really good if you're a lawyer, and it allows her to come up with ideas and see things that are really difficult to notice.
Yeah.
So she's kind of rarity, but
she's a rarity.
She she's kind of has parts of Rarity's personality, but she's not Rarity. She's kind of different to Rarity. Because obviously I can't have a Rarity character. That'd be kind of boring, you know.
Yeah, plus
Yeah.
Rarity's
She likes to
better
tease-
than.
She likes to tease Greed, anyways. It's always fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's. I think I quite like Pride as a character. I've got a scene. I'm planning a scene later on. It's not really spoilery. It's just kind of a fun little thing, where Pride kind of has OCD, so she likes to arrange things perfectly, and they're going to camp. They have to camp in the middle of the wilderness for the night. And Pride perfectly arranges everyone in like some sort of perfect mathematical thing, you know. So there's like everyone's sleeping in a perfect arrangement, and I'm going to have it that subconsciously Greed naturally doesn't like really open spaces. So so when she's perfectly arranged everything, Greed's just going to dump himself in the middle of it all. It's just going to lay down and just sleep. And Fred's going to be like, oh, what the hell, man? I just spent like hours arranging this perfectly. Douche. And Greed's just like asleep, gone. So that's one of the little like nuances, because I like having things to make people adhere to characters. I mean, when you look at Greed, even though he's an interesting design, if I do so myself.
Well, he does have a skull for a head. You know that's kind of different. So.
But you still need things that enamel people and endear people to characters, and
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
what I try to do. Especially with Greed, you know, I've already put in a thing where he has the little smiley cocking his head thing.
Yeah, I remember that.
That people have commented and said they quite liked. So I just wanted to come up with numerous ideas for my characters as to how they can have little nuances that endear themselves to people. So that's going to be hopefully one of them. And last but not least, I suppose we have Wrath, who is apparently Australian. It's the best. It's the best and worst accent I have my voice actor do. It's Mike. Mike plays Greed and Wrath, so he does a really good job at both of them. Not the Mike you know, Duhad. It's a different Mike.
All right. I know a lot of mics.
Yeah,
Microphone.
Michael Fitzpatrick. He's really good at. He
Oh,
basically.
yeah,
I think he wouldn't. I don't think Greed would really be as popular as he's become if it wasn't for Michael's wonderful voice acting on his role. He really does a wonderful, deep, dry sounding Greed voice that I think, with the writing and lines I give him, I think really works wonderfully to bring that character to life. So I am quite indebted to Michael for that. But so he does Wrath as well, and Wrath is he's very fiery. He's very self-confident in himself. He's a blacksmith by trade. He runs the forge, but because of the fact that his skin is basically iron, he can work metal without the use of specialized tools for handling it. So he can make amazing works of metal and stuff that you couldn't do if you were using big cumbersome tools.
All right.
And he's designed amulets that are designed to help protect the main six while they're here from many of the dangers. Because Equestria is so full of magic, there are many dangers that wouldn't exist in Equestria. So he designed amulets to help protect them from excess magical energy and stuff like that. Yeah. And I put in stuff like I made up my own suit of armor for him in the background. It's not going to get used. It's only there for the one scene. I snuck Cloud's Buster Sword on the wall. If anyone notices that reference.
I saw someone in the comments mention.
I try not
actually.
to.
One person noticed it so far, so it's good.
I appeared in the background once.
Yeah, that's true as well.
I made a background once.
I was in the background.
It's terrible.
So he's very self-confident with himself, and he's very headstrong. So whereas he's kind of slightly opposite to Pride in the sense that whereas Pride notices things and goes around the best route to find things, he's very headstrong in the fact that he'll kind of go for something. I'm probably going to put a scene in hopefully where they're going to have to cross a river, and Pride's like, well, let's look for a very shallow spot or where there's a natural land bridge and just go around there. You know, there's no currents. We don't have to worry about anything living in the water. And Wrath's just like, no, we can do that. Charge forwards. But he's made of metal, so he just sinks.
Does he drown? That'd be great.
He doesn't drown. He just can't swim because he's made of metal. So it's just going bong right to the bottom of the water. So then they've got to get him out of the water. That's one of the scenes I'm going to put in.
Spoilers.
So yeah.
Oh yeah, by the way, spoilers. Spoilers.
Kind of spoilers. Doesn't spoil anything. I can tell you about real spoilers if you. Yeah, but
Well, apparently I've
I'll-
got to scream and shout about how many spoilers there are, so we might as well go full force.
Here's my SD card.
I think we can basically, at this point, just basically start like the spoilers where we were saying spoilers, and then just leave them up until we end this section. Just because like there are like on and off spoilers constantly.
Well,
Unless you-
I'm willing to, if you want to ask me a question about anything later, I'm willing to tell you it. It's just you must put a spoiler warning up in case anyone doesn't want to hear it.
Yes. If you feel it'd be safer not to mention anything, then obviously don't.
Well, it's up to you guys. It's your interview, and you know.
Well, you're the
it's his
creator. It's
podcast.
just,
Yeah,
it's,
it depends how much you want to reveal.
yeah, it's entirely based on like what you're willing to reveal in order to promote your.
You know what? I won't tell anything else about the story.
Alright.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave the story as it is. If you guys want to know more, ask me afterwards, and I'll tell
Yeah.
you about it.
Yeah.
Because then it'll just be a personal kind of you guys want to know thing. But
Yeah.
for now, I'm not going to tell you anything else about the story.
Okay.
Story so far, we've met half the sins. We're going to meet the other half, and then and that's when the story really starts.
Then it's going to go down.
Well, I'm having. This is the reason it's dark. Is that I'm having the first kind of couple of episodes be quite pleasant and quite. Oh look, here are the characters. Let's establish the characters and the locations and the motives. And oh look, it's negative. That's kind of fun. You know, look at all the little different designs of the characters.
Yeah, okay.
And then I'm gonna have it when they actually start the actual adventure. I'm gonna have it be a little. I'm gonna have it pull back on the sort of.
Yeah, it's like it's progressive, getting darker kind of story. I get it.
Yeah.
So there's
It's
a lot of.
It's like walking into a basement where the light's broken. It'll get darker as you go down.
Yeah, and I'll.
Weird analogy.
It's slowly getting darker, so I'm working people into it. I mean, I'm not going full dark. I mean, yes, I have a pony with a head for a skull, but if you notice, there's no gore and no one really mentions it.
It's not like his eyes have fallen out.
I have had comments of people like, "Oh, why haven't Applejack or someone freaked out his skull for his head?" Sort of two reasons, really. One, three. One, they've been through a hell of a lot by now because it's the end of season 2. I think they're used to this sort of thing. Two, if I had to explain Greed's head every single time, I would end up doing it 6 times.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing it 6 times. I'm doing it once to get it out of the way, and then I'm just going to take creative license and just have people be cool with it.
Yeah.
And 3 is that this isn't. I only class it as it's dark, like Asa said. It's not really grim dark. It's dark. So there's no point in keep bringing something up and saying, "Oh, he's got a skull for a head. Oh, how horrifying!" When I'm not going to bring up other things like that. You know, it's just going to be dark, but not gory or anything, because I hate excessive gore.
Yeah.
I see. Hate's a strong word, though.
I really dislike it. You can be interesting and dark and even scary and horrifying without the use of excessive gore.
It's very true, actually.
I mean,
the
for
Weeping
example,
Angels.
Exactly. Or, for example, many take the original Silent Hill. Because it was on the PS1, the graphics were so bad that you couldn't really see anything that was going on, the monsters. But because of that made it 10 times more scary. You're kind of more like, what the hell is that? I can't tell what that is. This is really scary, you know?
Yeah.
Basically, it's just really scary.
There's a bit of gore in Jaws, but it's very light. And, even though it's considered one, like, especially like at the time, it was considered one of the scariest movies ever made, there's very little, serious, gore and violence on screen. It's,
it's actually very true. There's much less gore and violence than Sharknado. Sharknado, a girl fell out of a helicopter and the shark, while it was spinning a tornado, it ate her. So
That's such a... What is that principle?
If you think about Jaws, though, Jaws uses, because it's an older film as well, I think there's more examples of this. It's the same with like the original King Kong and stuff, is that they use a recurring theme to associate with a character. And that when you hear that theme, you automatically think, oh, you could have an open patch of empty ocean with no shark fin in it. You play the Jaws theme, people start thinking, oh, was the shark around?
Yeah, it's really freaks the heck out.
it become iconic.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It's like King Kong's theme in the original King Kong became very iconic with the character. In fact, it would only play with that character.
Yeah.
So...
But yeah, the Jaws theme is one of the most iconic themes out there from movies.
So I have a question then. As a person who hasn't seen a Sharknado, would someone please explain to me why it sounds like such a stupid idea?
Because it is a stupid idea.
Because it's a tornado made of sharks. It's even dumber than the previous film. And I'm not joking about this. Metal tornado, which is about a tornado made of metal.
Yeah. So basically in Sharknado, what happens is that we're veering off topic now, people, but we can go on to discussing a couple stupid movies here and explain this. But in Sharknado, if you haven't seen it, it's basically this freak storm happens in Los Angeles, California, and these tornadoes appear over the ocean, therefore lifting up the water, because tornadoes actually do this in and they lift up the water from the ocean. But there's like this shark feeding frenzy or something. I didn't see the entire beginning of it, but there's like this shark feeding frenzy, and all these sharks are kept swashed up into the tornado, and these tornadoes start going over LA and dropping the sharks into the streets, and which are starting to flood with water. So people are getting eaten all over the place, and
Right.
it's just stupid.
So
Yeah.
you'll have to forgive me for this, and I'll bleep it afterwards. But that sounds so shit.
It
Well,
is.
I don't know. Have you ever seen the film Birdemic?
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that film is amazingly bad.
But-
Oh, have you seen The Room?
I
No.
haven't actually.
The
no.
Room is the greatest bad movie of all time. It, Tommy Wiseau's,
Is it as bad as
performance in
Open
it-
Waters?
It is far worse than Open Waters.
That's
it
saying
contains
something.
it contains a scene where the lead character, and I like this is basically what his voice sounds like, but worse. Like walks up on the roof holding a bottle of water. As he enters the room, he lifts the bottle and goes, "It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not." Throws the water on the ground. Looks over. "Oh, hi, Mark. How are you doing?"
The heck?
Honestly, if you watch that, that's the trailer for Birdemic. But that is
Isn't it called Birdemic, Shock and Awe or
yeah,
something?
shock and
Yeah.
terror. The
Yeah, it's
special
just
effects.
it's not just Birdemic. It's Shock and Terror.
Honestly,
I don't understand why people make these kinds of movies. I mean,
No.
there's also this one scene in Sharknado was stupid hilarious. A shark comes flying out of the tornado because what they ended up doing was said, well, since it's just hot air and cold air, we seem to create tornadoes, high, low pressure stuff. Anyways, they said let's take bombs because they're hot air and all that other sciencey stuff, and let's explode them in the middle of the tornadoes. I'm like,
right.
brilliant. So they've been doing that, but the sharks are now flying all over the place, starting to hit the ground and dying. And then this one is coming at this guy. They're like, "Look out, Billy!" I don't know what his name is. He has a chainsaw, turns it on. He goes and cuts the shark in half as it's flying towards him.
Perfectly normal.
Fair enough.
yeah.
Here, let me point out something though. Like one of the reasons The Room is one of the most gloriously awful movies of all time.
Yeah.
One of the actors in it, one of the main characters, decided halfway through filming that he was just done. He didn't want, he was not going to do any more because the movie was terrible.
So
They just replaced his actor midway through the movie with a guy who looks nothing at all like him.
Wait a second. Do they at least is
No,
it just
there's no acknowledgement. It's just like, who's this character? Then they name him. Like, wait, that's him? That's the same guy. That's the psychologist.
I gotta see this now.
What?
They didn't even just reshoot some of the
No.
scenes.
No.
Hmm.
Also, like
What was
a
the
lot of
budget?
a large number of the exposition scenes in the film are like the main characters playing football, which largely consists of them standing about 2 feet from one another, very lightly overhand tossing a football between from one person to the other, while wearing tuxedos.
I think
Oh, that makes it all better then.
the funniest part of Birdemic was they had the director and the guy whose idea it was. Like, I guess it was the director and the co-director basically, and the other guy was hired. So the guy was describing his vision about this story, and while he was doing it, the assistant director just started laughing. He was trying to hide it, but he was laughing in the interview when this guy was describing his story because it's so bad. The special effects, I've made better special effects than that.
I got 3 things that prove that The Room is the best. One, very early in the film, there's a scene where the mother-in-law character just drops, "I got the results of the test back. I definitely have breast cancer." That is the only time that's ever mentioned in the film, and she's a main character.
Wow.
That is completely dropped the second after the line is delivered. That's her first. That's basically her first line in the film, and it never comes up again for any reason.
I have to watch this.
Is
Two-
her breast cancer relevant to the film at all?
There's no relevance. It's just sort of a thing that happens.
I'm
Like
not-
immediately
What?
after that, they talk about her daughter's relationship. It doesn't inform
What is this
anything.
movie about now? The Room. What is it about?
It is, and this is the second thing. It is basically nothing but a excuse for writer, director, and star Tommy Wiseau to talk about how wonderful he is. Because it is the story about the world's most perfect man who everyone loves and who has, a wonderful best friend and a wife. He's going to marry this lovely lady. The lovely lady who, for no reason, and basically has stated that she has no reason for doing this, decides she's going to cheat on him with his best friend. And then become the world's most awful person. Then the whole world turns against him, and he dies. And then everyone's like, "Wait, no, he was the best of us. Go away, horrible woman who everyone hates now. You
Yeah.
are terrible. You should never have cheated on Tommy Wiseau." I mean,
Meanwhile, in the
main
background, I
character.
have breast cancer.
The
No, again, no. The whole film is basically just some woman broke up with Tommy Wiseau in real life, and this is the story of why she is the world's most evil individual,
Oh
and
my
how
gosh.
he is a saint who, if he had died, everyone would have realized how wonderful he was.
The,
Here's the third thing: the movie was so hilariously bad that he ended up having to stop advertising it as a drama before it came out and just change it to being a dark comedy, because it was
wow.
too bad for it to even be, marketed as.
Is the acting as bad as the movie? It's the story itself?
Yes.
The
Okay,
the
good.
level of writing for the storyline is akin to about a 6-year-old writing a story. I remember in primary school.
I don't know. If you read Axe Cop, 6-year-olds can write stories pretty well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's what I'm saying though. That's the thing. Like, I remember in primary school writing a story, and it sounded like it had a more stable plot than that did. And that was about a guy who could touch a globe and then would be instantly transported to wherever he touched on
Oh.
the globe.
That's cool. I wish I
It
could do
was.
that.
I loved that story.
I made up.
Yeah.
I made up. I did Moldy Locks and the Three Gophers. I'm sure that was more.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's
Wow.
better than the room.
I once had an idea of someone finding a globe. It was kind of like an infinity kind of idea, in that when you could affect the world by touching the globe.
Yeah.
So,
I
but
think that's been done.
so the
before.
idea was kind of like, but what if you crushed where you were with the globe? It's like an infinity kind of continual.
Yeah, I remember
Because
doing
then the
something
globe also
similar.
exists on the globe. That's something I thought of. I thought it was
Yeah, I
really
was like,
interesting.
it's weirdly infinite. And I remember
Yeah.
thinking about that, and I was quite confused for many days afterwards.
I did that in grade school. There was a giant painting of the United States there. I'm not going to step on us, and we all looked up waiting for my shoe.
Lordy.
Anyways,
Oh wait, how long have we been recording for?
about an hour and 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I was gonna say let's get on to the zombie thing, but I think we might end up having to just make that a separate episode.
Yeah, so this one
That'll
was
be our
discussion about
special.
stupid
Yeah.
movies.
Do you have any more questions before I ramble on more?
I think we actually got to the point where we're out of time for this episode.
Yeah.
Oh,
Unless you
To
have
part
something else to
one.
discuss.
I did say I would ramble. So
Yeah,
you know,
that's
if you
okay.
want to
Yeah.
listen
I
to
think-
parts.
I think anyone who like people who are interested in this sort of thing probably have enough of an idea now that they can go and watch the series and
Good.
Be happy.
and see it. We'll
Yeah,
probably
and not watch those movies.
when you release your next episode, we'll probably bring you back and do another interview about that one, and go into more facts.
And every
Yeah.
subsequent episode.
So now your fans have even more reason to constantly pester you about when the next
Hey,
episode.
Ashley, if anyone goes and watches this stuff because they've read this interview, leave a comment saying "end to end brought me here." I would love to know how many people.
All right, yeah.
I've watched this.
If you're here, if you're not a regular end-to-end fan and you watch this, leave a comment saying so. And if you are a regular end-to-end fan who goes over and watches Past Sins,
Sins of Friendship.
Past sins? What the hell is
Oh!
this?
Oh,
You
sorry.
have
Oh,
crossed the line.
You've already done that
Blasphemy.
before. You're like, we're gonna interview the guy and we're gonna
Who
interview
did
him,
Past
for
Sins? I was
Past
like,
Sins. I'm like,
wait,
I'm pretty
wait.
sure he didn't write Past
sorry,
Sins.
I've
I
been
get too
thinking-
confused with Past Sins.
I've been writing a review of Past Sins recently, and I've got Past Sins on the brain. Anyway, no, sorry. If you are a fan of end-to-end and you haven't seen fuckism,
Do you want
if you
me-
haven't
Do you
seen
want me
Sins
to
of
say
Friendship
this?
before, if you have not seen Sins of Friendship before, but you decide to do it because of this video, leave a comment on Sins of Friendship, saying that Endown brought you. Let's see how many people
Yeah,
we get cross-pollinated.
basically,
Whoever comments first gets bragging rights.
And if
basically,
you do want to go and watch Past Sins, don't say that we sent you.
Yes.
wait, watch it. As in, like,
I said if you go.
If you go to Past Sins,
no, but I mean, like,
I am disowning you, like from
Yeah.
end to end.
wow.
If you watch Sharknado or The Room, please comment below.
That was the
and
first story I ever read, and I didn't mind it.
It was
but then
too.
I realized
it was
that.
the first. It was the first fan fiction I read in its entirety in the very first Pony
Yeah.
Guide.
Mine was My Little
No, I
Dad.
don't
Yeah.
mind it.
I didn't
I
mind
don't
it.
mind it. What I do mind is being confused with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair enough.
Having sins in my title is kind of a oops.
Yeah. Are you Penstroke?
I didn't
Oh
really.
god, can you imagine if
like-
someone did that? They were like, "I love your work. You wrote Past Sins, didn't you?"
Hang
Ah,
on,
Oh, yeah, well, it's like the guy, one of the guys who does the Two Best Friends series.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
E3, yeah, he had some game dev guy basically go to him just be like, "Oh man, I really love your series." He's a grown up, I'm a grown up, we're game grumps, and like the Two Best Friends guy's just like, yeah,
yeah, that's me.
So glad you're a fan of our work.
So hang on a sec. Penstroke Dawn, is that the person who wrote
yes,
Past Sins?
Penstroke.
I have
Yeah.
them on my Skype list.
Really?
God's sake.
Yeah.
Right,
I never
interview with
realised
him
that.
next.
Yeah, but send him this way. We'll talk to him.
We'll interview. No, we already have
I
someone
can't
over
believe
here.
we're
Yeah, we-
bartering for the logistics of who we're going to interview next while the episode's
Okay,
still
just
going.
in case he watches this, message me. When the hell did I get your Skype contact details?
I don't think Penstroke. Hold on, I think it's Penstroke.
Penstroke.
Yeah, it's
All
Penstroke.
All right. Well, Penstroke, if you are
There's a
watching
final
this, I'm really surprised.
Yeah,
And I'll stop making fun of your story.
I like your
Somebody
story.
He's not gonna watch this.
Admittedly, actually, Penstroke, I do have a bit like, even though I'm not a huge fan of the story, I have a lot of respect for the guy because he can take a joke. Like he's
Yeah.
actually he was a riffer on a group that did a riff of his story that was making fun of his story.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
Like,
I can
yeah.
do too.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
What was that
I
other story? Into the Depths was another story that I quite.
Oh yeah, I
liked.
remember that one. I don't know who wrote that one.
That was Penstroke.
It was
That was the
Penstroke?
reason I said I liked it.
All right.
It was interesting.
Yes.
Anyway,
So,
we'll probably end this recording, air this, and then record a special where we do the zombie thing that we're going to do during this episode.
Eventually.
And just do this just air that as a special.
Yeah, so this is an interview with stupid movie titles.
Okay,
My name is not stupid movie titles. My
This
name
is the Brony Gamer episode where we talk about sins of friendship.
And
Oh, I
stupid
know.
movies.
Wait, we can play a game with the audience. Guess when it's actually going to be uploaded. Ooh.
Ooh, yeah. Tell
That
you
would
what,
work
hold
if
on.
the audience could
No,
be
no.
here.
Here's something. Okay, according to my schedule, this episode should air on the 20th of July, 2013. If this is not aired on the 20th of July, 2013, it is either the fault of Cabral or Lightning Rabbit.
Or what if it's up earlier than that?
Then it's all credit to Cabral or Lightning Rabbit.
But the only
Because
reason I don't
it's-
do it early is because then we have no episode for the next time.
Just air it on the freaking date.
What if I'm busy? Oh.
Then I will swear to God, just hate
You know, I have the. Just send me the
Yeah.
pictures you want to use,
Yeah,
and I can edit
yeah,
them.
you said,
No, wait.
Alex,
I've got the edit
Why are
ready. It's fine.
Why are we discussing this
Yeah.
on recording?
Lightning Rabbit, you sent
Can we just send off the episode?
Hey, for end to end, this has been Duhad.
I've
Brony Gamer.
That's my new name.
Okay.
Hello,
Okay.
blah, blah.
Comment if you lasted this long and know what my name is.
Right, it's
You get a
descending into
special-
chaos. I'm Lightning Rabbit, and that's the
And
Brony
we will
Gamer.
see you guys next time with a very special interview with FimFam Philosophy.
Please get a light. Shut up.
As I tend
Alright.
to call him.
It would shut up.
The end. End of recording.
My Little
Cut
pony.
it now.